All right, so y'all know Drake's new album just dropped, Iceman, bro. People been hating this shit, bro. They said the album is trash. What do y'all think about this album down below? But today we are reacting to the psychology of hating Drake. Um, I guess you could say I'm a fan of Drake. I guess the album wasn't too bad in my opinion. It wasn't that bad. I know people are looking at it from a telescope of Drake standards, like, but if you compare it to other niggas' albums, I think it's a little bit better than they shit. I ain't gonna lie, it wasn't that bad. Now he did drop 3 albums. The one I'm talking about is Iceman. I didn't really listen to the other two, the Maid of Honor, and I believe it was another one. I didn't listen to those, but I listened to Iceman, and it wasn't bad. Was it overly hyped? Yes, but it wasn't necessarily bad. And I think people is just on a trend. Like this generation since 2022, I feel like it's just been a trend of hate. If somebody says some hateful shit on TikTok about somebody, everybody agrees. It's like nobody thinks for themselves no more. You get what I'm saying? We gonna check this video out though. Psychology of hating Drake.
I hate the way that you walk, the way that you talk. I hate the way that you dress.
I don't like anything about Drake. Mom, I don't like his voice.
I hate the way that you sneak this. If I catch flight, it's gonna be direct.
I don't like what he talks about. I don't.
See, I be trying to tell these face.
I don't like the way he walks, like nothing.
We hate the
I don't like
bitches
how
you
he
fuck
walks.
they confuse themselves with real women. Then notice I said we. It's not just me. I'm with all
His haircut. I might just let me shut up. I'll just stop right there.
Oh my God.
Damn it.
Let alone hating somebody takes a lot of energy. Just think about that. Hating somebody takes a lot of energy. Like a nigga I hate is Chud the Builder. I just made a video about, I don't know if I'm dropping it or you feel me, but I just made a video about Chud the Builder. That's a nigga I hate. He's racist. But to say you hate Drake, it's like, all right. Let's see.
You know, there's this psychological term called the tall poppy syndrome. It's the idea that when one flower grows taller than all the others, people feel the urge to cut it down. And like the kings of the past, it was at last that a king who colonized the land of empires would see his head get cut off from the indigenous people of that land. Oh, what a sight. They put the light on the owl and he scurried in the night.
You're as cold as ice. You're willing to sacrifice.
I'm not going to sugarcoat anything in this video. This is both an analysis of why people grew to resent Drake and an investigation into the psychological traits his rap battles accidentally exposed, especially the battles he lost.
The battle exposes the
People don't just hate Drake because of the allegations or diss tracks. They hate what the battle psychologically exposed about what he represents. For instance, during the battle with Kendrick framed Drake as somebody morally predatory. He told listeners to keep their young daughters away from him, called his circle certified pedophiles, and turned A minor into a Super Bowl fiasco.
Strike a chord, and it's probably A minor.
The thing I never understood though, because I'm not too invested, but like these are all allegations against Drake, right? Of being a PDF, right? Or has some of this shit been proven? Now, the thing about Drake that I do peep is Drake acts a lot younger than what he is. Now, some people might think that's just living, you know, just living life, man. I want to live, you feel me? I want to be young as long as possible. I get it. I do too. But some people think it could come off very like grooming, you know what I'm saying? Like, because he's real close with a lot of people younger than him. So I can understand that point of view, but there's still they're allegations. It's not no proof in the pudding that at least I don't know about. I mean y'all do, but ain't no proof out there that Drake is actually a PDF.
But what stood out to me wasn't even the Kendrick accusations. It was Drake's psychological response to them.
Only fucking with Whitney's, not Millie Bobby Brown's. I never look twice at no teenager. I'm way too famous for the shit you just suggested. Just for clarity, I feel disgusted. I'm too respected. If I was fucking young girls, I promise I'd have been arrested.
That's not something you should put in a song, though. That's kind of weird.
Kendrick Lamar never even mentioned Billy Brown in any of his diss records, yet Drake brought her up himself. Psychologically, that's what's known as guilty leakage, when somebody rushes to deny a highly specific accusation that was never explicitly stated. They can unintentionally reveal the very association they are internally anxious about.
Retrospective reframing. Okay.
Drake may have accidentally told the audience where his own psychological discomfort was centered before Kendrick ever explicitly did. Drake doubles down by rapping, "I'd never look twice at no teenager," but the problem is, we saw the clips.
My opinion on the rate of this video is probably going to fucking change. Starting to understand the hate, Aubrey. I can't go to jail for that. Okay. I've never understood the lore. Now I fucking get it. This girl tell you she's 17. Then you say, oh man, I probably didn't go to jail for this. Then you proceed to call her fucking thick? Drake, what the fuck are we doing? Holy shit, bruh. And I really was thinking nigga was just on Drake's ass just cause it was like a trend or some shit. Like I might have to cut that intro. I'm gonna leave it in though for y'all boys. Get on my ass in the comment section, chat. Fuck.
I guess that brings to a close
Oh, lock this nigga up. Lock him up. Lock him up. Lock this nigga up. Did he kiss her? Ew. Nigga, she's 17, gang. Is this real? Is this real? Is my eyes fucking deceiving me? Ew.
It's great. He's wonderful. I love him. Advice with boys? You know, that stays in the text message. You know, we just texted each other the other day and he was like, I miss you so much. I was like, I miss you more.
And this brings us back to the psychology of hating Drake. Once people begin questioning somebody's character, even past interactions start getting psychologically reinterpreted through a darker lens. Psychologists call this retrospective reframing. Behavior that once seemed harmless suddenly begins looking manipulative or predatory in hindsight. This also connects to something psychologists call the Streisand effect. The harder somebody tries to over-explain or aggressively deny something, the more attention the public gives it and the more intensely it gets scrutinized.
I'm learning a lot right now. Not just about Drake, but by psychology, you know what I'm saying? Hey, like the video. I'm gonna leave his video in the description.
But another moment from the battle that deserves more psychological attention was Drake's interpretation of Mother I Sober by Kendrick Lamar. The song itself is about inherited generational trauma, but Drake interpreted the song as Kendrick confessing to being molested as a child and then attempted to weaponize that perceived trauma against him in the battle.
That's why these pedophile raps and shit you so obsessed with is so excessive. They acting like it's so aggressive. Touch My Body by Mariah Carey play, you probably start reflecting. My mom came over today and I was like, mother, wait a second. This is trauma from your own confessions. This when your father leave you home alone with no protection, so neglected. That's that one record where you say you got molested. Ah, fuck me, I just made the whole connection. This about to get so depressing.
Psychologically, what made this moment disturbing to many people was not just the misunderstanding itself, but Drake's instinct to frame childhood sexual trauma as ammunition for humiliation. Even if Kendrick had actually been describing abuse, the response still reveals something psychologically cold about Drake's competitive framework, and it's the willingness to mock perceived victimization in order to gain dominance. And audiences picked up on that immediately. It showed people that Drake doesn't know what real pain is, and what that moment revealed to many people was what psychologists would describe as empathy deficit, a diminished ability or willingness to emotionally process another person's suffering. What followed was the collective moral disgust of most of the audience. The audience no longer sees a rapper trying to win a battle. They start seeing someone willing to override empathy in pursuit of dominance.
Oh, yeah.
Boy, I'm really starting to dislike the Drake.
Hate the Drake.
At the same time, though, I'm not defending shit Drake got going on after I just seen that video. That shit's still lingering in my mind because I never seen that clip before. But at the same time, it's like, I think it's weird that he brought that up, but also niggas also say it's no rules in dissing, right? Or am I tripping? Let me know, because I can't be wrong. I'm telling you, I'm not claiming to be right. So let me know down below in the comment section. Is there rules to these diss track shit, this rap beef shit? You know what I'm saying? When Biggie and Pac was dissing each other, and these niggas were talking about, you know, fucking each other's wives and shit. Nigga, that shit crazy to me.
This connects back to a deeper psychological pattern throughout Drake's public persona, grandiose narcissism. Grandiose narcissism is characterized by an inflated sense of strategic brilliance and the constant need to preserve an image of dominance even during public defeat. For example, after Kendrick Lamar accused Drake of secretly having an 11-year-old daughter, Drake responded on The Heart Part 6 by claiming he intentionally fed Kendrick false information as part of some master plan. But the issue is, there was never any evidence of a mole or coordinated setup.
We plotted for a week and then we fed you the information. A daughter that's 11 years old, I bet he takes it. Master manipulator, you bid on a speculation. You dumb and reactive, nigga, I'm petty with dedication. Even the picture you use, the jokes and the medication, the Maybach glove and the drug he uses for less inflation.
Drake's narcissism is that he will forever yearn to be looked at as a master manipulator.
Master manipulator, you bid on a speculation.
Before the battle with Kendrick Lamar, Drake had already spent years collaborating with artists from nearly every major regional scene in the United States. Some people viewed this positively as Drake keeping hip-hop commercially dominant and globally visible. Others saw something more calculated, a process of sonic colonization. But when you zoom in closer, that pattern arguably extends beyond America and into Canada itself. Take The Weeknd, for example. Long before The Weeknd became a global superstar, his dark atmospheric sound heavily influenced Take Care. He contributed to 5 songs on the album, and many people believe that project marked the moment Drake sonically reinvented his sound. Drake constantly praised him publicly, brought him on stage, and would always shout him out on Twitter, and he always tried to integrate him into the OVO ecosystem. But when The Weeknd rejected Drake's attempt to bring him fully into OVO, and instead signed independently with Republic Records, Drake's reaction became psychologically revealing. He tweeted, "You won't get away with just a thank you." Psychologically, Drake's relationship with The Weeknd reflects what's known as love bombing, overwhelming someone with praise, opportunity, validation, and emotional investment in order to rapidly build closeness and influence. When The Weeknd rejected his offer, in Drake's mind, he was his property, and this is why I wouldn't necessarily call Drake a master manipulator, because manipulation implies control. Many of Drake's relationships reveal repeated failures to maintain control once people establish independence from him. What becomes revealing is not the attempt itself, but how Drake emotionally responds when influence no longer works and he faces rejection. Drake once again went through narcissistic injury, and when he sees The Weeknd in public and on camera, he partakes in narcissistic devaluation by trying to make The Weeknd feel smaller.
That's weird. Sorry, y'all, my cam died, but back to what I was saying. The thing with guys, bro, we all got egos and shit, and either one of these niggas could have had said what's up to one another. Like one of them could have said what's up, but they all got egos and shit. But Drake definitely could have said what's up, bro. You know, this is weird for surely.
Yo, where's Willow? Yo, your heart didn't drop when Ye was like, yo, stop the music. I was like,
I was like, the beginning of the speech, I was like, this is gonna
I
go
thought he was
somewhere
gonna go,
dark.
and I came here tonight to kill this man on his own stage. I thought he was about to go off.
No jokes, I was like,
This nigga Drake's so animated, bro.
But like, it was so funny because like, I think like Virgil or like Don had their arm around me, and then when he said stop the music, I just felt the arm like leave, you know? Like, it was like,
now I'm
it's
at,
like,
I had lunch with him earlier, and he was like, this is gonna be fun.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh.
What starts to emerge when you see how Drake operates is this broader psychological perception of how Drake handles relationships. When you look at his fallout with The Weeknd, many people interpret moments like this through the framework of cultural boring and stylistic absorption, even from your home turf. For listeners who are critical of Drake, a key psychological factor is what's known as authenticity heuristic, the mental shortcut people use to judge whether an artist feels real. And one of the central tensions around Drake is that, in the eyes of some audiences, this authenticity heuristic gets repeatedly violated. Over time, it produces a form of moralized dislike where criticism goes beyond taste and becomes a judgment about artistic integrity and identity. It's not even the issue of ghostwriting that creates resistance to a full Drake project. It's the broader perception that Drake doesn't simply collaborate with different regional sounds. He absorbs the entire aesthetic systems, linguistic patterns, and sonic identities and recontextualizes them into a consistently delivered product. And he does it really good, but there's this identity-based moral discomfort about it because he sells more than the people coming from the cultures that he's dipping in. Depending on perspective, that can be heard either as cultural fluency or as cultural extraction. What stood out to me in the battle between Kendrick Lamar and Drake wasn't who won or lost. It was the psychological reaction of the audience watching a cultural giant be publicly dismantled in real time. It revealed something deeper about his psychological structure under pressure. Drake's battle with Pusha T was a controlled escalation built on subliminals in the beginning.
The bigger question is how the Russians did it. It was written like Nas, but it came from Quentin.
But it was Drake who ultimately escalated the conflict into a full confrontation, targeting Pusha T's wife after the warning shot on Pusha T's infrared.
I'm in shock. The nerve, the audacity. I told you keep playing with my name and I'ma let it ring on you like Virginia Williams.
At that moment, Drake was operating from a place of perceived invincibility, a psychological state closely tied to grandiosity where status and success distort the perception of consequence. He had won a previous battle with Meek Mill, and that survival may have reinforced the belief that he was untouchable and can go at someone's family. But in rap warfare, certain boundaries are non-negotiable, and once family is introduced into the equation, the gloves are no longer on.
See, that's what I was asking. I thought there was rules to this shit.
Was
I mean, no
surgical
rules.
dissection of Aubrey Drake Graham.
You are hiding a child. Let that boy come home. Deadbeat motherfucker playing border patrol.
What stood out in Pusha T's story of Adidon was not just the content of the diss, but the psychological precision of its execution. It did what Drake often has been accused of doing himself, mastering narrative control as a form of power. Pusha became what Drake always wanted to be, a master manipulator. Pusha T publicly revealed Drake's child before any official announcement, stripping away Drake's ability to frame the story on his own terms and breaking what is often described as his hyper-controlled public narrative.
Yeah, I remember that.
At the time, Drake had reportedly intended to introduce his son through a coordinated Adidas promotion. Pusha T publicly revealed Drake's child before any official announcement, stripping away Drake's ability to frame the story on his own terms and breaking what is often described as his hyper-controlled public narrative. Instead, Pusha T forced the revelation into a public space on his own terms. He seized the authorship of Drake's personal narrative and redirected it towards humiliation and exposure. Drake would even admit to defeat at his own game.
or you know, obviously the part that hit me the most, which is like, you know, wishing like that my friend that has an illness like dies. Like that shit to me is just not really wavy. Like I don't really much I can say better than Drake has a baby. He won. You know, he won off that bomb.
But from a deeper psychological reading, the significance wasn't just the revelation that Drake had a child, it was his relationship to black identity. Both Kendrick and Pusha T used Drake's complex relationship with blackness to question his authenticity.
Oh yeah.
Confused, always felt you weren't black enough. Afraid to grow it cause your fro wouldn't nap enough.
How many more black features till you finally feel that you're black enough?
Before moving to the predominantly Jewish neighborhood of Forest Hill, Drake grew up in Weston, which was a rougher area. As he described it, he existed in a kind of cultural in-betweenness, never black enough for some, never white enough for others.
You know, it was, I just always felt like an outsider. I went, when I was in Forest Hill, you know, it was an all Jewish school, like, and just being biracial, but still being Jewish, so I was like kind of connected to the kids, but like sort of distant. And when, you know, when kids are young, they don't necessarily comprehend everything.
Right.
So it can get a little cruel. As cruel on the other end, you know, by making you feel excluded, or making you feel like you can't get in on this. and sometimes I do feel like if, you know, sometimes I don't feel celebrated when I know maybe somebody else would be celebrated for those accomplishments, you know? I don't feel like.
And another thing though, like I heard, like, you know how people were like Kendrick and Pusha T trying to claim Drake doesn't like his blackness, he doesn't embrace it, or he wish he could embrace it more, or stuff like that. Did he get like a nose job or something? Is that true, or was that a rumor? Because that's why that little BBL Drizzy shit from, I think, Metro Boomin, he made the beat. BBL Drizzy. Is that true or no? Is that allegedly he got a nose job? I can't really tell the difference from right now. You can probably look it up and tell the difference. But if that's true, that's crazy, man.
People say when Drake is the artist of the decade, I don't think anybody says, wow, a black artist is the artist of the decade. I don't think anybody says that, really. I never heard anybody say that in the last few weeks. You know, and I associate I associate myself as a black man. So for me, it's sometimes it's something that I just acknowledge and I just keep it moving. But, you know, like I said, I feel like if the situation was different, I feel like maybe some of the massive accomplishments and accolades that we've.
The truth is, Drake would always yearn to be accepted by different groups, which is not wrong at face value, but when you look at his battles, it exposed Drake would become calculated in how he appropriates various cultures for the end result of profit maximization. When an outsider enters a cultural space and eventually becomes its most commercially dominant global figure, it can create a psychological tension among those indigenous to that culture. So when Drake incorporates Houston influences, Atlanta slang, UK drill elements, Caribbean patois, and traces of Lil Wayne's Louisiana delivery, it produces this complicated reaction in the audience. The indigenous people to that culture subconsciously ask questions like, did this person suffer enough? Is this real? Do I really know him, or is this all an act? Drake represented not only this Canadian actor entering Black American music, but this Canadian dominating the culture on the charts for almost 2 decades. So not only participating in the culture or collaborating with the culture, but he was outperforming everybody in America too. But is Drake the tallest poppy, or is he the tallest weed consuming the nutrients of the land that he's not from? However, Drake does have deep black musical roots. His father, being from Memphis, exposed him to southern black music traditions early on, and his uncle Larry Graham had deep musical roots too. We even got footage of Drake spitting bars as a youngster.
Yo, boys ain't golden gates. Those who break, they break. When they hit their 400-pound weight.
But psychologically, when somebody grows up feeling emotionally unclaimed by every group around them, they often become hyper-adaptive. They learn to mirror environments in order to survive socially, and I think that's Drake.
That's true. That is true, and I can see
Another
that.
reason people feel a psychological distance from Drake is his perceived identity ambiguity. In much of his music, listeners struggle to form a stable sense of who he actually is outside of moments of conflict. This creates a kind of cognitive dissonance in the audience. At times, he presents himself as emotionally vulnerable. Other moments, he adopts a tougher, more hardened persona, drawing from Toronto's underworld imagery. This results in a shifting identity that doesn't always resolve into a single coherent psychological image, leaving some listeners unsure whether they're hearing authentic self-expression or adaptive performance. In psychology, people are naturally drawn to individuals with high self-concept consistency, a stable, coherent sense of identity over time, like Kendrick Lamar. Through his music, he presents a clearly traceable psychological arc, a good kid in a mad city. He went from depicting gang life in LA to actively working on his daddy issues and putting it all in his music.
Daddy issues made me learn losses. I don't take those well. Mama said that boy is exhausted. He said go fuck yourself.
Drake now finds himself in a psychological position similar to a 50 Cent experience around 2009 when he dropped his album Before I Self-Destruct. We watched 50 rise like a cultural hurricane, but over time, that same intensity led to saturation fatigue. Both Drake and 50 reference self-destruction, knowing that the audience is drawn to greatness, but they are also psychologically fascinated by collapse.
Saw a side of myself that I just never knew. I probably self-destruct if I ever lose.
Psychologists refer to this emotional reaction as Schadenfreude, the subconscious pleasure people experience watching a powerful figure fall from grace. The Before I Self-Destruct idea is psychologically important because it reflects this kind of retaliatory narcissism, the mind state that if a person feels their image or legacy is collapsing, they would rather burn everything down around them than lose control quietly. That's why you see Drake make lawsuits out of a diss record, and if there's one final thing that the battle's exposed, it's Drake's relationship with his primary fan base, women.
Refrigerating your emotions. Okay.
Psychologically, Drake frames the opposite sex less as fully realized partners and more as emotional extensions of his ego. Drake, like many sociopaths, has superficial charm, which on the surface comes across as emotionally intelligent and vulnerable, but beneath it is pure manipulation. One of the most revealing relationships for Drake was his dynamic with Rihanna, which many interpret as exposing his psychological response to rejection. He has openly suggested that Fireworks from his album Thank Me Later was inspired by Rihanna, and in the song he expresses his frustration at being the nice guy while still not being chosen by her.
I'm just such a gentleman. You should give it up for me. Look at how I'm placing all my napkins and my cutlery.
Over time, Drake's emotional framing of Rihanna changes. Drake begins referencing Rihanna indirectly in the form of music.
Why they make it sound like I'm still hung up on you? That could never be. Yeah, I'm anti cause I had it with you. Yeah, and the sex was average with you.
Once again, Drake goes through narcissistic injury and once again partakes in defensive devaluation like he did with The Weeknd. Instead of sounding emotionally detached, the constant need to say, I'm not hung up on you, better him than me, the sex was average, I had better woman. But the most psychologically revealing thing about Drake's relationship with a woman may be his response in moments when he knows something is morally wrong. Yet instead of correcting the behavior, he appears to psychologically...
It feels illegal to watch this fucking video. Like, I never knew about this.
rationalize and continue it anyway. Case in point, when Drake kissed the 17-year-old girl on stage, Drake verbally acknowledges the girl's age, meaning there's a conscious awareness of a boundary being crossed, but instead of disengaging from the interaction, he follows through with kissing her. In psychology, this is connected to a concept called the moral disengagement, where a person temporarily separates their actions from their own moral standards in order to avoid accountability. After the Kendrick battle, most people expect vulnerability, reflection, or reinvention, but Drake's response seems to move in the opposite direction. He reframes himself as emotionally unreachable, cold, isolated.
My question is, like, how the fuck this nigga ain't get canceled before all this little Kendrick this and shit, if this video look like it's been out for years, I mean, it shit like it's been recorded on a microwave. This shit look like it was recorded straight out of 2009. Come on, gang, this nigga should have been out of there. Like, what the fuck?
The Iceman. Oh, and speaking of Iceman, all throughout his new releases, he's adopted a me-verse world attitude, throwing shots at everyone from rappers to ball players.
Yeah, Brian.
And Muggsy Bogues done for once, even I'm a bit amazed. Please stop asking about what's going on with 23andMe. I'm a real and he's not. It's in my DNA. I shouldn't even be shocked to see you in that arena because you always made your career off of switching teams up. If Drake took out that AK, maybe he'd be in jail. Is it the fair skin or the Jewish roots why people want to not see me on top of the mountain like I do the dude?
I don't hate Drake. I'm indifferent to him because he never stood for anything. To me, what Iceman represents is the death of Drake. Not healed, not reflective, just emotionally refrigerated and deeply irritated. As always, I go by the name of Nugs, we go by the name of the Shifters, and this is that dope shift.
Hey man, great video. I'm gonna leave the video link in the description, bro. Let me see if you got any more. See if you talking about anything else though. Hold on. Or is it just gonna fizzle out?
If you rock with this video.
Oh, okay. Hey yo, shout out to this video, man. Great video. If you enjoyed this video, bro, hit the sub button. I know y'all gotta do that. Let me know down below if y'all still fuck with Drake or not, bro. If you do, I don't know, man. I don't know if I can fuck with Drake after seeing that video. That shit kind of made a nigga uncomfortable watching this nigga kiss a 17-year-old on stage. It makes me question, like, how did he not get canceled before all of this? I wonder if that video's true or not. I don't know. But holy fuck. Like, this video made me change my whole perception on this nigga. I understand that, hey, I was just thinking people was hating this nigga because y'all know how people be. They just hop on trains. Niggas be dick riding and shit. And some people probably don't even know about this shit. Some people probably just hate him because they seen it on TikTok. But that's the vibe I was getting from a lot of niggas I was seeing. But great video by this guy, man. We got educated about a lot of psychology shit. I can understand the hate of Drake now. If you enjoyed the video, bro, y'all know what to do. Be up out of here, man. I love y'all boys. Peace.